Oh gosh. Workplace drama. That always makes me so uncomfortable because like your coworkers don't have to be your friends, but like you don't want to have a hostile work environment and oh, that can get really messy. So it like can be difficult to pick like who's right and who's wrong because like sometimes you just want peace at the office, you know? I don't know. Sometimes you also just have really bad coworkers. Happy apple picking day! I can't really sit in my chair. She was literally in her bed and I got up for 5 seconds and I don't get it. I don't understand. I literally got you a bed for you to hang out in your own spot. Can I come sit with you? What if we sat together? This is not working. I don't like this. Could I like squeeze in here with you? You are so unbothered. You couldn't have done that like 5 minutes ago? How easy was that to be in your own chair? I mean, let's be honest. This is really her house and I just live in it, so it's fine. Miss Vixie. She loves the belly rubs. I don't think they can really see you and appreciate how sweet you are. Anyways, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And just a reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is that we all grew up with different experiences, and those experiences shape our perspectives and our opinions. So if someone has a different opinion about something than you, it usually just means they haven't experienced something similar. They don't have that kind of perspective. That's why we talk in the comments calmly and civilly, because in all reality, you're never too old to learn something new. And sometimes you teach someone something new, and sometimes you teach me something new, and sometimes you guys learn something new. Just keep an open mind as we're talking about all these things. And again, it's okay for people to have different boundaries, and it's okay for people to prioritize different things than you. Like, that doesn't make someone a bad person. And just glancing at some of these titles today, I already feel like that's going to be a case for a lot of these stories, so just keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking. I'm coming back. Apple number 1. Just hold on, Vixie. I have to get the computer. Am I the bad apple for bringing my daughter a special cupcake to someone else's birthday? My daughter Bryn is 3 years old and she was invited to a classmate's birthday party. She's in preschool and I was super glad to bring her for the water slides and cake and to celebrate her classmate's birthday. However, my daughter has an egg allergy and I thought instead of putting that burden on another parent, I would just go and get her an egg-free cupcake myself and bring it. I still wanted her to take part in the festivities and celebrate her friend's birthday. I just thought this was a good idea. But then while at the party, another parent pulled me aside and asked why I bought Bryn her own cupcake. I explained my daughter's allergies and she said, oh, okay, she definitely understood, but it might make the other kids feel bad since hers is different and special. She added that it might also make the birthday girl feel bad because it's supposed to be her special day. I should probably add that the parent complaining wasn't even the parent of the birthday girl, just another parent at the party. Now, I don't know. I mean, I was just trying to do right by my daughter. I wasn't trying to make the other kids feel bad. I was just trying to not make the other parents have to do more. Was I the bad apple? There is nothing that irritates me more than people who like take it upon themselves to get offended for other people who are not offended, if that makes any sense. Like, what? This parent, in my opinion, like the one complaining, had no business doing that. Like, what was the reason? What? Like, first of all, you're a grown adult. Okay? You're a mom. I feel like in this day and age, adults, especially parents, are aware that like food awareness is a thing and like kids have a lot of allergies and food restrictions. Like it's caught earlier in life. Parents are looking for it. They're testing for it. Like I would assume, like if it were me at a birthday party and I saw a kid eating something completely different than the other kids, I would automatically assume it was either like a allergy or a food restriction or like a religious food preference or something like that. Like when it comes to a cupcake, maybe not, but like, you know what I mean? Like just in general food, you know what I mean? That would be my first assumption. I would never just assume that someone was trying to give another child preferential treatment at someone else's birthday party, and I definitely wouldn't confront them about it. Like, okay, So if the birthday girl saw this special cupcake and was like, oh, that one is so pretty, blah, 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 then I, as that child's parent, just a reminder, disclaimer, I always need to add it, I'm not a parent, I've never had kids, like, I'm just a childless cat lady millennial, okay? But I digress. I, as that kid's parent, would then, hey, what you got there? Like, then I would inquire, but I wouldn't, like, waste my time, energy, or thoughts on it if it's not, like, it's not doing anything to the birthday party. And then once it was explained to me, I would then just say to the kid, oh, hey, some foods make her tummy hurt, some foods make her sick. She can't eat some foods. And those foods are in our cupcake, so she just had to get a different cupcake so that it wouldn't make her sick. Like, that's how I would explain that allergy to the child. Boom, problem solved, not an issue, moving on with our lives. To, like, be a regular bystander and, like, confront the parent as in, like, why does she have a different cupcake? Why is that your business? This isn't your kid. This isn't your kid's birthday party. Like, I feel like there was some nefarious assumptions going on, maybe even a little bit of mom shaming, and I don't like that. I just, like, mind your business. Mind your business. Why, in what world would you just go up to someone else at someone else's event and be like, why are you doing that? Why does it bother you, Susan? What is it doing to you? And then the audacity, after hearing it's an allergy. Well, like, what if that were to upset the birthday girl? Well, first of all, that's not your birthday girl. That's not your kid. Second of all, who cares? That's a great, I feel like that would be a great segue to teach them young that some people just have to eat different things. And some people have different things going on with their tummies. And some people, like, I feel like when it comes to a lot of issues in the world, if you just, like, explain it very simply and point blank when they're itty bitty, like, they just grow up with it being normal, you know? Like, I have a close family friend who is missing a limb. And as the kids grow up, obviously they ask about it. And when you just explain it very simply and point blank, oh, okay, and they just move on with their lives. I feel like a lot of things could be that simple. But you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. I think this mom, though, the one that brought the cupcake, that's a good apple mama. Looking out for her baby, as she should. Because, you know, that's what moms do. And not butt their heads into other people's business that they don't have any business being butted into. I don't know what I'm saying. It's fine. I need to move on. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for being a brat over my birthday present? My sister was diagnosed with cancer last year. It's been really hard on our family and even harder on her. I love my sister and I've tried to be there for her the best that I could. I also did everything that I could to make things easier for our parents. I took over all the chores, I cooked every day, I cleaned the house, I did laundry, I took care of our younger siblings and babysat them more. Luckily, she's doing really well and has finally finished her treatment, which is great, and we're all grateful. Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart and hers was 2 weeks ago. For her 16th birthday, my parents got her a new car to celebrate after everything she's been through, which I understand. She does deserve it, but I was a little surprised because they always told me they didn't have any money. My dad's been unwilling to help me get a used car since last year, telling me that they're broke. I didn't even want him to pay for all of it. I've just been saving up and just want him to help me with the little bit that's left, but again, he just kept telling me that they don't have money for that. Well, 2 weeks later, my 19th birthday rolled around, and my parents bought me a book that I mentioned in passing and a $20 takeout gift card to a place that I like. I thanked them, but they saw that I wasn't too thrilled and asked me what was wrong. I told them that while I appreciate the gifts, I thought that they were finally going to help me with the remaining $800 for buying the used car, seeing that they could afford a brand new one for my sister. Well, that's when they accused me of being jealous of my sister, who had just gone through something very traumatic, and that I was trying to make everything about me, and that I couldn't just be happy for her, and I was being a brat. They said that at the end of the day, I have a job, and I should just continue saving, but I don't know. Are they right? Am I being a brat? Was I the bad apple? I cannot imagine what it must be like to be a parent, much less a parent of a sick child. I don't have any experience with that. Like the closest thing I can imagine is like when I was growing up, I did have a childhood friend that had cancer, but like that, he's okay now. He's doing great. been cancer-free for like over a decade, which is wonderful. But like I don't have any experience in this. What I do know from teaching a lot of kids who have had some family misfortunes is that, what's the term? I think it's called glass children. I don't quote me on that. Let me know if I get it wrong in the comments. I totally might. Been out of the classroom a little while. But the kids that in a family that are not sick. You know, sometimes when you have a child that is sick, the parents, all their time, energy, and effort kind of gets thrown into this kid who is in dire need and is in the middle of a travesty, which, you know, the love and support is necessary for their recovery. But sometimes the children that are not sick at home kind of get a little, I'm trying to think of the words, a little, I don't want to use the word neglected because that feels very strong and aggressive, and it's not like a purposeful, like, oh, you don't matter. They just, sometimes parents don't see their needs as immediate as the sick kids, right? And it's, in reality, when you have a sick child, a sick family member, it becomes a tragedy for everybody involved. Like, even we saw this teenager, like, really stepped up at home. And, you know, I think the parents are just so overwhelmed with gratitude to the universe and to, you know, whatever, that their daughter is healthy and is okay and is going to be with them for a very, very, very long time, which is wonderful, and we're all so excited about that. But I definitely don't think this kid is being a brat for, you know, feeling a little snubbed. Obviously, he's so excited that his sister is healthy, and he really stepped up and did what he needed to do at home to help, you know, try to support his sister, try to help his parents support his sister. So I can definitely see if he's being told, like, forever, like, hey, I'm really trying to, like, get a car, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to set up my life, and they're like, we can't. And then when tragedy strikes and he steps up and does whatever he can to help, and then afterwards just feels snubbed. Like, I can see why he would feel a certain type of way. I'm not going to go as far as to say that the parents are bad apples, because I think that they're just genuinely so overcome with joy that their daughter is happy and healthy. I don't think they're doing this on purpose. I don't think that they're trying to snub the other kids. I don't think that they're trying to make them feel invisible or neglected or anything like that. I genuinely just think that they're, like, so caught up with what's going on with the sister. I would never take a parent who is just so overcome with emotion that their child is healthy and tell them that they're, like, a bad apple. Like, that just feels wrong. Even though I don't agree with how they're going about things, and I definitely think that the other kids are being snubbed a little too much, for sure. I would never, ever shame a parent for, like, just being so overjoyed that their kid was healthy. You know what I mean? Like, that just feels wrong. I don't think that the teenager, the 19-year-old, is a bad apple or a crab apple either. I don't think that the way that they went about it was disrespectful. I don't think that he was snubbing his sister at all. I know his parents used the word jealous. I definitely didn't hear, like, a jealous undertone of, well, she gets, like, I definitely felt it as kind of like a cry for help is how I read it. Some people might read it a little bit differently, and that, you know, we hear the tone in our head, that we hear the tone in our head. It is what it is. I think I'm gonna go good apple on this one. I don't think his feelings are invalid, just like I don't think the parents are evil for, like, not seeing the whole picture, right? I do think that a conversation about, like, hey, I get that, like, this was a really, really, really traumatic event for her, but, like, it was also a traumatic event for us. Like, it was just like it was a traumatic event for you. Like, she was sick. That's traumatic for her. Their daughter was sick. That's traumatic for them. Their sister was sick. That's traumatic for them. Like, it doesn't just affect one person. It affects everybody. And yes, of course, it affects one person way more than the others. But, you know, everyone else also deals with that, and everyone else also goes through with that, and everyone else does their part. So I definitely think having a conversation and the respectful, like, I thought that was respectful enough. Like, I didn't see anything inherently wrong with the way that he brought it up. But, you know, if you guys have different opinions, you let me know down in the comments. Like, I think good apple, personally. I think that reminding them, like, yeah, we're all so ecstatic and overjoyed that she's fine, but we still matter, and the things that we have going on also matter, and, like, you know, I think that's important, personally. Apple apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for choosing my pet over my brother's wedding? I, 24 male, have a brother, 27 male, who got married last week, and I, unfortunately, had to cancel at the last minute because of my dog. My dog ran into the street and got hit by a bike. He's fine now, but at the time I had to rush him to the vet and he was in very rough shape. The doctor told me that he would need supervision for the next week, and this happened 3 days before the wedding, which was a no pet wedding. My brother made it very clear that I could not bring him to the event, and I even told him the situation, but he wouldn't budge. So I told him that I had to cancel and that I wouldn't be able to attend due to the fact that I needed to take care of my dog. A few days went by and the family's now very upset at me because I didn't show up, and they said that I should have just got a pet sitter. But I didn't want to trust a random person or even someone that I know with this much responsibility. I mean, my dog is one of the few things that helped me get through COVID. He's my whole world. So, am I the bad apple for missing my brother's wedding to take care of my dog? There's a few questions that I have. First, are you in the wedding? Second, like where is this wedding? Like, is this a wedding that you have to travel far? Or are you just gonna be gone for a couple hours? So like, I'm thinking about if it was this nugget. Because like y'all know, these things, the most important things in my entire life. Like you and your brother, can you stop licking yourself to give me a kiss for 1 second? Thank you so much for the cat kisses. Thank you. That's all I wanted. You can't even see it on camera. That's upsetting. Hey, baby. Good girl. You're so sweet. Thank you for the kisses. So it doesn't say anything about, oh, I have to be gone for multiple days. And it doesn't say anything about standing. It just says I have to cancel. Not that it really changes my answer, really. First of all, okay, this is a no pet wedding. I've never heard of a wedding where you just bring your pets. Never heard of that. Like, I'm very confused as to why that. I'm assuming what happened is he just like asked his brother like, hey, can I bring my dog to your wedding? And the brother was like, no. And he was like, oh, but he got injured. And his brother was like, no. I feel like that's what happened. Like that makes the most sense to me, because who like puts on their invitations like no pets allowed? Like okay, I'm going to say this, and I feel like I've said this before when it comes to people who miss weddings for other things or don't show up to big events or whatever. So you know, I feel like when it comes to your life priorities, they're your life priorities, okay? If you've decided that your dog is more important than your brother, then that's your life priority and that's your business. Is that something that I agree with? No. But that's why I ask about the other questions, you know, like, is this something to where like you're in the wedding and you're like throwing things off because you're not showing up? That's gonna like really determine whether I go bad apple or crab apple, because like for me, I'm trying to think of how to word this so that it doesn't come off the wrong way. Because I don't want this to just be taken as like a Rebecca the crazy cat lady, because I would not have acted this way for my I would not miss my brother's wedding for the world. And if something happened and Vixie was recovering, I already know exactly who I would call and have them come sit at my house, because it would be my friend Sarah. Sarah would probably go to Ethan's wedding too. I already know, but regardless, I have like a list of people that I would call that I know that if something happened, they would call me immediately. Like, not that I think anything will happen, but like 3 days I think is plenty of time to find someone to come sit at your house for a couple hours and just make sure nothing crazy happens, right? So again, I want to make this clear. Do I agree with this person? No, but I feel like I've consistently said when it comes to what, like when we've seen parents not able to take their kids to kid-free weddings and they like, well then I don't want to go. Or when it comes to, you know, people say, well, I'm not going to my friend's wedding because XYZ. I feel like your priority list in your life is your business, okay? And I might not always agree with the priorities that people have, but like their lives, their morals, their values, their priorities are their business, and they are what they are. So like if you've decided that your dog is more important to you than your brother in one of the most important days of his lives, then that's your choice. But then you can't get upset when people react to those decisions, right? It's very natural. Hey Milo, you coming up here? Come here. I think it's very natural for your brother and your family to be upset and offended that you chose the dog over your brother and that you missed the wedding and that you didn't go. So like if you're going to make those decisions, like hey, this is where you stand in my life kind of decision, you just, like, that's your prerogative in my opinion, but you can't be upset or surprised when people react accordingly. So like if you're not in the wedding, so like you're not standing in the wedding, so you're not messing up the photos, you're not messing up the flow, you're not whatever, then I am comfortable with going crabapple just because I don't agree. Like I would never miss my brother's wedding for anything. And y'all know, like, these things, again, these two fur nuggets, the most important things in my entire lives. I would never miss my brother's wedding. And I would be so upset. Like, obviously, if something were to happen to Kel, that's my brother's dog. If something were to happen to Kel, I would be devastated. We're gonna knock on something. I would also be devastated if my brother was not present at my wedding. I just don't agree with this guy. I don't agree with this guy. I'm going the only reason I'm going crab apples because I'm assuming he's not in the wedding. If he's in the wedding and he missed it, then I'm going bad apple. Because then it's not even just I don't agree with your priorities. Then it's like you're like actively messing up the wedding because you're supposed to be up there and you're probably supposed to be giving a speech and the pictures are all gonna be off. Like, then I would go. So for now, I'll go crab because I just don't agree with your priorities. I don't like it. And I know there's gonna be people that just say bad apple, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. Here's the thing when it comes to like my opinion about priorities. I'm at a place in my life where I would never want to force someone to make me a priority. And that's where like my whole mentality of like, look, your priorities are your priorities. Just don't be surprised or upset when people react accordingly. So like, are there people who are not going to agree with me on that and just go bad apple? Absolutely. And that's fine. I would never want to force or shame someone into making me a priority when they don't want to make me a priority themselves. So like, that's where I'm coming from on like that kind of mindset of, okay, like, you know what I mean? There's been too many times in my life where I have tried to kid myself or force someone into prioritizing more than they really wanted me to, and like, you never really win in the end on those. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not their priority, you're not their priority. And in my opinion, it's always better to know where you stand with people genuinely and act accordingly than to kid yourself and delude yourself into some false fantasy, you know? So that is where I'm coming from when I like give people a little bit more leadway on a lot of these stories, when it's like, okay, your priorities are your priorities. I might not agree with you, but like, I'm not gonna force you or like shame you into changing your priorities, because that's not gonna be like genuine, you know? That's just gonna be like, oh, you know? And you don't have to agree with me. That's just at the place in my life that I'm in now. So, not that it like really matters. I was just giving you a little bit of insight as to like that. I'm rambling. I need to move on. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for humiliating my colleague at work? So a woman in my department got married recently. Everyone in the department, 10 people excluding the bride, was all invited except for me. I was personally told that the wedding was being kept small as they didn't want to spend extravagantly. The others were told that I just couldn't attend. At a department meeting following the wedding, when the bride was back from her honeymoon, everyone was talking about the wedding. A coworker commented to me that it was a shame I couldn't attend, and I just remarked that I wasn't even invited. I could see the bride's face visibly change, and now she's mad at me, and our working relationship is cordial at best. To further this, our department had a dinner and celebration for her, and I did contribute to the gift. The date was selected and changed based on others' availability, but I couldn't attend due to a trip overseas that I planned last year. It wasn't even discussed if it could be changed so I could attend. The person organizing it was another coworker and her best friend. I think this other coworker, and not the bride herself, is the one behind my exclusion for some reason, but I don't know why. So am I the bad apple for clarifying that I was never even invited in front of the whole department, and even though they were told that I couldn't attend? Okay, this is another one that I feel like this is really gonna depend on like your boundaries. And that's okay. Like, we're probably all gonna have, I don't know if there's like a right or wrong answer here for this one. Like, I really feel like this one is like truly an opinion based on like personality and what you're comfortable with and what your boundaries are, if that makes any sense. Like, I personally, if this were me and I was in this situation, I would probably not have said that. I probably would have like said, oh yeah, such a shame, I heard it was lovely. And then I would later go to the bride and like just say, hey, I heard that this was told to everybody and you and I both know I wasn't invited, and I don't feel comfortable lying to people when they ask me about it or when they make comments about it. So like, let's talk about this, because I don't want to lie for you, but I also don't want to like throw you under the bus. So let's have a discussion, let's have a conversation. And that's how I would handle it personally, I think. I think that there are some people who would be very comfortable stirring the pot and just be like, no, I wasn't even invited. And I don't think that's a bad apple, because in all reality, you know, just like we said in the last story, your priorities are your priorities, but don't be upset or surprised when people act accordingly. So like, this bride didn't invite the colleague and lied about not inviting the colleague. You shouldn't be, in my opinion, shouldn't be surprised and or upset that like she's telling the truth, right? Like, that feels like what you want to exclude her, not talk to her about it, and then like have her cover for you. Like, I don't understand that. On the flip side, if she just played along and like didn't say anything to the bride, just like, oh yeah, too bad, like, I also wouldn't fault her for that, because I know that there are some people who don't like confrontation, and there are some people that would not like to stir the pot. The reason I'm going to go crab apple and not good apple, because like I just said, I think that how you handle this is like truly an opinion-based thing. And like but for me personally, there's a few things. Like, first of all, I don't necessarily I personally don't agree with the just calling her out in front of everybody. Like, I wouldn't have done that. Do I think that would make you a bad person? No. I just wouldn't pick that path. But what else is like kind of bothering me is like pulling in another colleague and blaming her for like, oh, well, this colleague doesn't like me, and I'm sure that's why I wasn't invited to the dinner. No, you probably weren't like worried about for the dinner, because the person organizing it knew you weren't invited to the wedding. Like, this is a celebration for the wedding. They probably didn't plan it around you because you weren't invited to that. And I understand that you contribute. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have been. I'm not, because you did contribute to the gift. You didn't have to contribute to the gift. Honestly, I'm disappointed that they even asked you to contribute anything if the person organizing it knew you weren't going to be included. Like, that's so shady to me. They were wrong on that. But to just like come up with this conspiracy theory of like, I feel like she's the reason that I was excluded. No, I think the reason that you were excluded from the festivities, even though they were a jerk too for that, is because they knew you weren't going to be at the wedding. Like, that makes sense to me. So like, if you just were to say like, oh, I wasn't invited, like, you know, nonchalantly, I think I would just go good apple. But the fact that you like stirred the pot with that and then like added on, like, and I bet it was that, like, I know you didn't say it to the other women, but like in your head, like spinning this thing of like, and I'm sure it was that girl. Like, I just feel like it's going to start getting a little out of control, and work things can get really messy. And I know like we all do it, right? We all spiral, we all go down the rabbit hole, we all come up with our own little conspiracy theories, but like the vibe that I'm getting is that it's going to start getting messy, if that makes sense. And some people might read the vibe differently than me, and I think you would definitely be able to change my mind in the comments, but I'm just getting a very messy vibe that like, I don't know how else to explain it. I think that if this was portrayed a little bit differently, I could very easily go good apple, but the vibe just comes off to me as very messy, and there's just something about it that just like, and again, it might just be past my bedtime. That's also very, very possible. Like, you might be changing my mind in the comments. Very possible. That's just, where my brain is at right now. All right, so I don't even know what I got. Hold on, I need to look. All right, so I think if I counted right, it's really late. It's like 2 a.m. 2 good apples and 2 bad apples. Did you get anything similar to me? Did you get anything different than me? Definitely let me know down in the comments. As always, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/Am I the Bad Apple. And for your well wishes today, It is National Prosecco Day for all of our friends who are of age. And it's National Filet Mignon Day. This is not a very kid-friendly national day. So, all of you guys who are of age, I hope you have a nice glass of Prosecco, or I hope you have like a nice dinner tonight. And for everyone else, sometimes it's just not our week. And that happens sometimes. We can't always win every single week. Sometimes it's just a normal week, you know? And that happens. That's life. Right, Vixie? That's life. You can't have Prosecco or filet mignon, huh? You're just a sleepy lady. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope to see you all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.